Hello and welcome to the second lesson in the U.S. Citizenship Preparation Class. So when you're ready, we are going to discuss the colonial period and independence from 1607 to 1776. Let's begin with those important keywords you need to know and understand. Try saying those keywords out loud. Remember to practice your pronunciation. Practice your pronunciation. So, first keyword, colonies. 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 The 13 former British territories that joined together to form the original 13 U.S. states. Those are the original colonies. Okay? Remember the stripes on the flag. Persecution. Persecution. Persecution is the mistreatment of people, often because of their religion or their ethnic background. Persecution. Tribe. Tribe. A tribe is a group of related people in a traditional society. It's often referred to when you're speaking about Native Americans or American Indians. Tribe. Founding Fathers. Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers are the leaders who signed the Declaration of Independence and or wrote the U.S. Constitution. Declaration. Declaration. A declaration is a formal announcement. To declare something, you're going to announce it. Treaty. Treaty. A treaty is an agreement between countries, also between the U.S. government and the Native American tribes. Okay, it's an agreement. Very good. Now we're going to add a little more detail. So the colonists. The colonists were the Europeans who came to live in the colonies. They were called the colonists. Basically, they were looking for freedom. They sailed across the Atlantic Ocean because many of them did not have these freedoms and opportunities in their home countries. They came for a new life or a better life, right? It was a chance to start over. Today, many people come to the U.S. for the exact same reasons. Many colonists came to escape religious persecution. They wanted to practice their religion freely. Others came for political freedom, and some came for economic opportunity. Okay? And again, people still come to the U.S. for these exact same reasons today. Let's talk a little bit about Native Americans or American Indians. The American Indians lived in North America for thousands of years before the Europeans arrived. The Native Americans taught the Europeans many useful skills, such as how to grow crops like corn, beans, and squash. And as more Europeans arrived, relations between the colonists and the Native Americans got worse. Colonists fought with the American Indian tribes and took much of their land. The U.S. government then signed treaties with the Native American tribes to move them to reservations, areas that were set aside for Native Americans. The U.S. government made many treaties with Native Americans, and they broke many treaties with Native Americans. They really took advantage of the Native peoples that were here. Many of these reservations, these areas that were set aside for them, actually still exist today. There are now, in 2020, 574 government-recognized tribes in the U.S., and nearly half are in Alaska. There are now 6.79 million Native Americans, or about 2% of the population in 2020. So you can see here many of the Native American tribes are located. This map, you can see where most of the tribes are located. Many of them, or most of them, are located in the West. And remember, almost half are in Alaska. This is because the Europeans arrived on the East Coast. They arrived up and down this East Coast from across the Atlantic Ocean, and they kept pushing the Native Americans further west. Okay, we'd set up those reservations. They kept pushing them further west. And so that's why most of these are on the west side of the United States. You will need to know the name of one tribe, one Native American tribe. You can choose a tribe from the list in the book or from the link, or choose a tribe that you know that is easy for you to remember. Okay, so because there's, 500, over 500 recognized tribes in the United States, they don't have them all listed on the PDF or on the website or the book, but USCIS officers will be supplied with a list of federally recognized American Indian tribes. Some that are listed are ones that you may have heard of, like Cherokee, Navajo, Sioux, Chippewa, Apache, Iroquois, Pueblo, Crow, Creek. So those are some. You just need to know one, and just choose one that is easy for you to pronounce and easy for you to remember. Okay, let's go back to the 13 colonies for a bit. Here they are on the East Coast, remember, of the United States after settlers arrived from crossing the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so they're arriving up and down this East Coast. The 13 original states were all former British colonies. When the 13 colonies became states, each state set up its own government. And eventually they would come together to form a national government that would unite all the states into a single nation. So here are the names of the 13 original colonies. You will need to know three of these: Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So any three of those. Okay, again, they are on the East Coast there along that Atlantic Ocean side. Okay, I mentioned earlier that the 13 original colonies were all British colonies. And in 1775, the colonists decided to fight against the British rule and start a war for independence. This war was called the American Revolution. Okay. The colonists started the war with the British, and the war was called the American Revolution. Okay. That was 1775 to 1783. And there are many reasons for the war. The British king taxed the colonists, but the colonists were not allowed to make any decisions about their government. So the British king is over in England, right? And all the colonists are in this new world trying to, make their own living. And the British king across the whole Atlantic Ocean is still telling them what to do and taxing them on goods that they're sending over. But the people didn't have any say of what was happening in England. So they did get upset about this. This is one of the reasons for the American Revolution and the fight for independence. The colonists felt the British did not respect their basic rights, and they did not allow them to self-govern. So this problem was called taxation without representation, because the people were not represented in government over in England. So they were being taxed, but they didn't have any say in the government. So that was a big reason why they decided to fight for their independence. Also, the colonists did not like the British soldiers staying in their houses. And this was called quartering. This was called quartering. Okay, the British soldiers would stay in one of the homes, a colonist's home, and the colonist was expected to feed and house the soldier, the British soldier, and they did not like that. Okay, so the colonists needed to become independent. So 1 year after the start of the American Revolution, representatives from the 13 colonies met and declared independence from Great Britain. And this document was called the Declaration of Independence. Remember, declaration means to announce, and independence means to become free. So the Declaration of Independence. All 13 colonies agreed to and signed this Declaration of Independence. The men who signed the Declaration of Independence are called the Founding Fathers. Okay, and here's a famous picture of the Founding Fathers painted by John Trumbull in 1817, and it hangs in the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. That same picture is also found on the $2 bill. If you ever see one of these floating around, they do exist. They are in circulation. The $2 bill has that picture on the back, that famous picture. Okay, so the Declaration of Independence, the purpose was to announce the separation of the colonies from England. The Declaration stated that if a government does not protect the rights of the people can create a new government. And here is the Declaration of Independence. It was adopted on July 4th, 1776. July 4th, 1776. Thomas Jefferson is credited as writing the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson. In it, he wrote, "All men have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." He was the third president, and you can find him probably in your pocket around the house. He's on the nickel. He's on the nickel. He also has a beautiful memorial on the Tidal Basin in Washington, D.C. It's the Jefferson Memorial. Extremely pretty during the cherry blossom season. Okay. George Washington. Now, George Washington was the first president of the United States. He is actually called the father of our country. George Washington is the father of our country. He is, currently you can see him all the time. He's on the $1 bill. He's also on the quarter. And of course, Washington, D.C. is named for him. Remember, Washington, D.C. Okay. Here is the Washington Monument It is the tallest structure in the city, and it, besides the radio towers, not going to count those, it rises 555 feet in the air and was completed in 1884. And if you're lucky, if the elevator is working, you can go all the way to the top and have a great view of the city. Okay, that is the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. All right, here we have John Adams. John Adams was the second president. So we have George Washington, then John Adams, then Thomas Jefferson. John Adams was also one of the founding fathers. Whew, all right, ready? Now let's go over those 11 new questions, civics questions. Okay, let's do this together. What is one reason colonists came to America? What is one reason colonists came to America? Freedom, political liberty, religious freedom, economic opportunity, to practice their religion, or to escape persecution. Okay. One, just one. Okay. You do not have to know all of those answers. Just choose one. Okay. Write it on the back of your flashcard. Next question. Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? American Indians or Native Americans? Either way is correct. Either answer. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States. Just one. Cherokee, Navajo, Sioux, Chippewa, Choctaw, Pueblo, etc. Choose one you can remember. There were 13 original states. Name 3. Okay, so remember there, the other one said name 1, right? Here you're going to name 3. There were 13 original states. Name 3. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Why did the colonists fight the British? Why did the colonists fight the British? Because of high taxes. You see how that is parentheses below it, taxation without representation. Okay, you don't have to say that. You can say that. Or you can just say because of high taxes. Okay. Because the British Army stayed in their houses. This was known as bordering or quartering. Or because they didn't have self-government. Because they didn't have self-government. Okay, again, just one of these reasons. Just one. Okay, and again, if something is in parentheses, that taxation without representation, you can say it, you don't have to if you choose that. Next question. What did the Declaration of Independence do? What did the Declaration of Independence do? It announced our independence from Great Britain. It declared our independence from Great Britain. It said that the United States is free from Great Britain. Okay, so again, parentheses, don't worry about if you don't want to. And any one of these to remember, any one. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? So you hear that when? You're looking for a date? July 4th, 1776. July 4th, 1776. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Who? So a name, right? Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. Again, Thomas is in parentheses, so you can just say Jefferson. What are two rights in the Declaration of Independence? What are two rights in the Declaration of Independence? Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. But you just need to know two. There's three, but just know two. Who was the first president? Who was the first president? George Washington. George Washington, or just Washington. Who is the father of our country? Who is the father of our country? That is also George Washington, or Washington. Okay, so that's it. Those are the 11 civics questions that you should study for next week. You should also make your flashcards, and now you have 15 questions. All right, 15 out of 100. Not too bad. Learn them a little bit at a time. You don't know which questions I'm going to ask next week, so study all 15. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about some reading and writing sentences. Let's do some more practice here. Reading and writing. Try to read this sentence. Read that out loud, and then I will read it with you. Who lived here first? Who lived here first? Okay. And practice writing this sentence. You have your pencil out? American Indians lived here first. American Indians lived here first. Okay. And this is what it will look like. So pause the video, write it down, and then practice writing that sentence. Let's read another one. Who is the father of our country? Who is the father of our country? Good reading. Now, try to write this. Washington is the father of our country. Washington is the father of our country. It should look like this. Okay, pause the video, write that sentence down, and practice it. Who was George Washington? Read that together. Who was George Washington? Okay, try writing this. Washington was the first president. Washington was the first president. Okay. Check here. Write that down. Okay. Let's do another one. How about this? Read. Who is on the dollar bill? Who is on the dollar bill? Please write, Washington is on the dollar bill. Washington is on the dollar bill? There it is. It should look like that. Okay. Let's do another reading. One more. When is Independence Day? When is Independence Day? Now please write, Independence Day is in July. Independence Day is in July. And check here, pause the video, write that sentence down, and practice it. Thank you all once again for watching. Keep studying and stay well.